Hello everyone, my name is Desi, and today we are going to learn about the human resource management. Okay, by the way, people are thinking about the human resource as one of the department. But actually, what is the human resource department? People believe that human resource is part of the department that giving a people a comfy places. Well, we can think about the Facebook or the Google working environment. It's so fun and people working around. They can bring the pets. They are happy. But is that really the job of the human resource department? And again, another people also think that HR department is the department who which responsible for the payroll system. Okay, well, another people thinking about HR as the department that handle for the career development. Well, that's also correct. People, if they want to get more promotions, they will go to the HR department and following all the regulations and all the system procedures to get the promotions. Another people also thinking that HR is the training center and the place of the good teamwork. But actually something is missing. What is it? Well, HR department is the department that actually forgot about the goal of the HR department. Well, what is the goal of the HR? HR department is the department that actually preparing the system for people inside of the organizations to win the business. Then again, in doing so, what should the HR have to do? They have to do to create the value for the employees. This is very important point for the HR department to think about. What the meaning of the value of the HR? The value of the HR is giving the HR practices as the engine or the fuel for the employee and also the stakeholder to win the competitions in the business. And this is one of the important things. We can use the training as the booster to win the competitions. We can also use the recruitment process to win the competitions as well. But the question is, people only think about making an efficient process, but they forgot about the end result. That's a little and brief definitions of the HR department. Okay, let's take a look for another thing from the HR, the issues of the HR. What actually the issues related in the HR? Well, we're thinking about five at least important issues in the HR. One of them is about the gender discriminations. People thinking about male and female differences a lot in any aspect in the organizations. And then another aspect that normally become the issues in the human resource management is the race. And another thing is the religions, health, and others. Okay, let's take a look for the gender differences. People thinking about the issues of gender is a matter in the organizations, and actually that's correct. Male always paid higher than the female. People thinking about the male as the breadwinner and the female as the bread earner. So that's becoming one of the reasons why male get the paid higher rather than the female. But this issue has been in a very long time in the HR, and until now, this matter is unresolved. And even this issue is becoming harder and harder, especially in the sport when the male normally paid higher rather than the female. And also another things. And in the organization, this is pretty normal to face the glass ceiling, and this is the common issue. Glass ceiling is the issues that normally the women hardly to get the positions as a leader because there is a barrier which the barrier can't be seen through the eyes, but it does exist to it does exist to hinder people, to hinder the female for such of certain positions. And that's why we only find a small number of CEO as a women CEO. Okay, another thing is the race. It's about the skin color and also another things. Well, the research is about how the coach selecting their team member. If the coach is the black coach, then they have a tendency to looking for the black member. But unfortunately, this is happening in many NBA contexts. But unfortunately, this is happening only in the short time durations. Because after some time, people realizing the competency of each member, and finally, they selecting the one who really good candidate to filling positions in the member. Another thing people think about similar skin color, we have the similar IQ, but this is still questioning because it does not exactly correct, but this is what the impressions of people about the skin color. So in the workplace, these things is really a big matter, especially if we are working in the very divergent context of working setting, working environment. And another issues is normally about the religions. But fortunately, we are living in Indonesia where the religion symbol is not a big matter in this Indonesians or beloved Indonesians. Okay, another issue is about the health. So if we are thinking again about the issues of the health, we will directly thinking about the physical health. But actually, there is another health issue that we need to taking for about this matter. We call this as mental health. Well, a lot of organizations now thinking about providing a mental counselor for their employee or for their member in order to make more healthy mental for the employee. And this is a good and positive trend for the organization, especially during the pandemic. Okay, now we move into HR practices. The HR practices actually is only consists of the 3 important steps. But then people break down the 3 steps into several steps. Well, take a look for the pre-step. We have planning. This planning is consists of about making a predictions about the need of people for the organizations. Planning is about the making an estimations about how many more employees that we need to fill in certain positions for the organizations. Are we looking for the inside people or outside people? There will be a lot of aspects related to the planning. In the selections, we also have the testing. This testing will be related to what kind of relevant testing for the organizations. If the organizations much more needed physical strength, then the selections will be based on the physical strength. But if the organizations need more cognitive, they will looking for more selections method that will be suitable for the cognitions task. Another thing about the planning and testing is the interviewing. And this part, we only making a cross-checking, but this is only in the most trickiest part for the recruitment process, because we're looking for a lot of aspects in this stage. During the cross-check, we're not only looking for their background check and during the interview about these people personality, but we also check about their social media, and we also trying to make a validity between the answers and the CV. And this is also a very time-demanding stage as well. So why people making such a huge effort during the selection? This is because this is the very first stage, and this is the very first filtering stage for us to take a new member for the organizations. We hope we will get the perfect member or the suitable member for the organizations. Well, after we got the selections process, we are not stopped into the selections process. We will continue to the other process, namely the retaining process. In the retaining process, we want to maintain the new member in order to make them still stay still for the organizations. So, in making them stay still in the organizations, what should the HR need to do? The first one, we need to make the training for the new member. The training is one of the part that normally spending a lot of money. But the new research also showed that the training is actually not very effective in increasing the skill of the employee in the new member, because not every skill and core competency need to be trained for enhancement. Sometimes we just need to make them understand about the setting. Okay, this is one of the trickiest way. For the training, this is the cost that normally spending a lot of money, but also the efficiency is the questioning as well. Now, another thing in the retaining process is the performance appraisal. We appraise the employee, and a lot of method related to performance appraisal. We can use the 316 method. We also can use the supervisor scoring. Also, we can use the critical ratio and another method that we can use. The most important thing is not the method, but the most important thing is we select the appraisal method that might be suitable for the job descriptions. That's one of the most important part, rather than we selecting the most sophisticated method, but it's not that relevant to the job descriptions of each the employees. Another thing is about the retentions and the career. For the retentions, we are thinking about how we maintaining. This is about the making employee not resign or they're not moving to the other organizations. So we have to be very careful about the physical contract. Rather than we use the we have to be careful with psychological contract instead of the physical contract. So what actually the differences between the psychological and physical? For the physical, people just can't violence the contract or branch the contract at any time. But psychological contract is something that long lasting. But in order to creating the psychological contract, we also need more commitment, and also we need to put the trust. So the fight of the relationship between all organizations member is very important in this retentions and career development. Another things of the retention is the career development that I did not mention before. Sorry. In the career stage, we have to think about the career enhancement of every member in the organizations, because career development is also another great tools to make the employee working with us. Okay, now after we learn about retentions and career, we learn about the compensations. The compensation is about making a pay plan and also creating a good blueprint to pay the employee. And this is also one of the most important part, but this is one of the important part, but this is not the most important part. Okay, we have to be careful in making compensations into appropriate strategy. If we are giving them with a lot of compensations, well, it will give the wrong impressions to the employee of making them more spoiled. So rather than making them more motivated, it made them getting demotivated. This is the trickiest part of the compensations. Okay, the last practices in the human resource is the pensions plan. We selecting people, we maintaining people, but the other things we also need to have the blueprint or the formula how we release the people, not exactly release, but how make a good pensions plan so the ex-member of the organization also have a good life after becoming or member of the organizations. Okay, everyone, that's the end for the today's lesson. I'll see you again next time. Thank you.